In life, many of us hold on to things that feel safe, a job, a routine, a habit, believing they protect us. But sometimes what we think is saving us is actually holding us back. Today, let me share with you a timeless story, a story of a wise teacher, his young student, and a poor family whose life was forever changed when their only cow was pushed off a cliff. Once upon a time, there was an experienced teacher who wanted to teach his student an unforgettable lesson about forced security and the invisible limits that people often set for themselves. One day, the teacher took his student to a small poor village. The streets were dusty, the houses old and fragile, and the people seemed to carry the heavy burden of poverty on their shoulders. Life there moved slowly, almost hopelessly, as if everyone had given up on the idea of change. The teacher and the student finally stopped at the poorest home in the village, a small wooden hut where a couple and their three children lived. The teacher gently asked the father, "How does your family survive day after day?" The father, calm and humble, replied, "We have one cow. Every day it gives us about 10 liters of milk. We sell a part of it to buy rice, salt, and other basic needs. The rest we keep for our meals. Thanks to this cow, we can live another day." Hearing this, the student felt sympathy. To him, the cow seemed like the most precious treasure of the family. Without it, they would surely starve. The teacher, however, simply smiled, turned away, and walked out with his student. But just outside the house, the teacher suddenly stopped, looked straight into his student's eyes, and said firmly, "Push their cow off the cliff." The student froze. He could not believe his ears. How could his teacher demand something so cruel? The cow was their only lifeline. Yet, after a moment of hesitation, the student decided to obey his teacher's command. With a heavy heart, he pushed the cow toward the edge, watching it fall into the abyss. That image haunted him for years. Time passed, and the student, now grown, could no longer bear the guilt. He decided to return to the village and apologize to the poor family whose cow he had destroyed. But when he arrived, he was stunned. The old shabby hut had disappeared. In its place stood a beautiful house with a large garden full of vegetables and fruit trees. Chickens and goats wandered in the yard, children laughed as they played, and a car was parked proudly in front of the house. Terrified, he asked the neighbors what had happened. Did the family sell everything and move away? He wondered. But the answer shocked him even more. They were still living there. When he finally met the father again, he asked anxiously, "How did this happen? Years ago you were living in poverty. What changed?" The father smiled with a deep look in his eyes and said, "For years we depended on the cow. We thought it was saving us, but in truth it was chaining us. One day the cow fell off the cliff. We were devastated. We thought we would surely die. But with no cow to rely on, we had no choice. We had to learn how to grow food, how to trade, how to find new ways to survive. Step by step, we realized we could do far more than we ever imagined. Losing the cow was the best thing that ever happened to us. Without it, we would still be trapped in poverty. Now we are free and we are prosperous." So, what is the cow in your own life today? For some, it may be a stable but stagnant job, safe enough to pay the bills, but never allowing you to grow. For others, it may be a toxic relationship, familiar and comfortable, yet draining and limiting. Or it may be the way you think, "I can't do this. I'm not ready yet. Maybe later." That belief feels safe, but in reality, It keeps you stuck exactly where you are. In the modern world, our cows are not animals. They are habits, excuses, and comfort zones that give us the illusion of survival while secretly holding us back. Many people only change when they are forced to, when they lose their job, when a relationship ends, or when life pushes them to the edge. But why wait until life shoves your cow off the cliff? Why not take the step yourself and create space for new opportunities to grow? True success never comes from staying comfortable. It comes from stepping into the unknown, where challenges exist, but also where your greatest potential lies. The poor family never discovered their strength until they had no other choice. You too may be capable of far more than you imagine, but only if you dare to let go of your own cow. So ask yourself, what is the cow in my life? What am I clinging to that feels safe but is actually chaining me down? Remember, the life you truly want may only begin when you are brave enough to step away from false security and walk toward the unknown. Because you are far stronger and far more capable than you think.